GTDA has been looking to set up this event with Adult Swim for a while. Adult Swim is, we've got some great studios in town. They're definitely one of my favorites. And I might play more of their games than any other developer, including my own. So, from Bible Fight, that alone got me hooked a long time ago. And I had my Squidbilly addiction going on for a while, too. So this is an event I've been looking to have happen for a while, because they put out great games, but they don't make particularly many of them. They're made by independent developers. And the fact that more of them are not coming out of Georgia, for me, is kind of a personal disappointment. So this is a great opportunity. One of the most interesting game publishers in the world is in Atlanta. And we have some of the best game designers out there. I'm seeing representatives, more representatives from studios coming in. I've seen folks from High Res. I've seen folks from Games at Work. I've seen folks from a number of our different studios here, posted by Joe, obviously. And I think this is a great opportunity for everybody in this area. I personally would love to see Reclutter as a game, where you're trying to find those interesting water pipes and match them and get rid of them. Perfect Adult Swim titles. I think everybody in here has games that they could develop easily that would meet some of their criteria. And if they're good enough, hopefully get up there. So I've been looking forward to this for a while. Steve G has been with Adult Swim for a couple of months. Okay, actually, Sean's been there for a couple of months. Steve G's been there for a few years now. Run into him, mainly I run into him in California. Yes. Less so here in Atlanta. But they've been doing great work. I mean, the titles you see here, the titles that they've got elsewhere are just exceptional, so much fun. I won't say they're time wasters, because every time I'm playing them, I'm having a great time. I will not consider that a waste of time. So I'm really looking forward to them sharing what goes into making a great game, and more importantly, how everybody in this room can be making games for Adult Swim. And now, Steve G. And Sean.
Hey guys, so I'm Steve. I've been at Adult Swim Games for almost 4 years now. Before that, I was 4 years. Did I mess up?
Yeah, no, you almost said 4 months. Like he did.
Time flies.
It's catchy.
Time flies. Before that, I was in marketing capacity at EA, doing Hasbro, Family Game Night stuff. And then before that, I was at Namco doing mobile stuff. And before that, I was at Sony in QA and as an admin in QA. So many, many years in various capacities in the gaming industry. And now I'm an Adult Swim. So my job in a nutshell, I'm our business development manager at Adult Swim. So basically people send me games, I check them out, which is a pretty sweet game. So basically what I do on a day-to-day basis is I'm talking to hundreds of developer contacts I've made over the years, as well as I'm always on TigSource, Kickstarter, random places. Always on the internet, always seeing what's out there. And my job is to find games to publish for Adult Swim. So how many of you guys have played an Adult Swim game? I'm hoping everybody. All right. So before my time at Adult Swim, we've always done Flash games like Bible Fight, like 5 Minutes to Kill Yourself, Robot Unicorn Attack. Been on mobile with Robot Unicorn Attack, Amateur Surgeon, Giant Bolt of Death. And for the past few years, we've been on Steam. So here is our Steam lineup, which is freaking amazing. Pound for pound, best lineup from an indie publisher. And I may hear some snickers, but let's show some of the stuff we got.
Which one? Which one?
Let's do
Duck game?
Duck
game. Jazz, no, jazz.
So they have one end of the spectrum. If you guys haven't played Duck Game, obviously it's Mario Brothers, not Mario, Smash Brothers with tons of ducks and guns. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have some new stuff that we've signed recently. And we can start with Death's Gambit.
Death's Gambit?
Yeah.
Do you want me to do the other?
Let's do the YouTube one then.
YouTube one?
And we announced this recently for PS4 So as you guys can see, obviously, we don't just do funny games. We have quite a diverse lineup. So what a lot of people think, obviously Adult Swim, we have some great television programming. But what we did with Adult Swim games is kind of, whether you see it or not, we're keeping with the spirit of Adult Swim, which is finding great talent and letting them make what they want to make. A perfect example is Volgar the Viking. When we found that game, I found them on Kickstarter. They're two dudes in Seattle, and the game is hard as hell. You want to throw your controller.
Let's just show screenshots while we're.
Show screenshots. So the beauty of this was, I remember they sent over the build. When we sign a game, I don't play it, so I'm kind of removed from the process of finding more games. But it was near launch of the game, and I was playing the latest build, and I knew the game was hard, but oh my god, like I couldn't beat level 1. And I talked to the developer. I was like, dude, the game's hard. We're gonna get killed in reviews. Like, oh, Steve, trust me, it'll take an hour and a half to learn level 1. And I was like, I don't think we're gonna get good reviews, man. But the beauty of it is, we let developers make games they want to make. I mean, I worked at EA, and you're recording this, so someone at EA is going to see this. But we don't have suits telling developers what to make. No one's saying, we got to hit this genre, whatever. We work with developers who make the games they want to make. And with the Volgar guys, Crazy Viking Studios, he basically said, I want to make the Super Ghouls and Ghosts game sequel that we never got. And we let him do it. Same with Jazzpunk. If we pull up Jazzpunk, you guys are familiar with that one. That is a game that I'm sure many large publishers with legal departments would stay away from because there's just jokes and parodies about it.
There we go.
Third from the top.
All right, listen. You listen to me. I want...
Those screenshots?
Whatever.
Which one do you want?
I was screenshots. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen Jazzpunk, definitely check it out. This is another example of two guys in Toronto. It's like, dude, this game's awesome. We want you to make the game you want to make. So with Adult Swim, we're, obviously if you're funny, that's great. If you're quirky, that's great. But for us, it's like great game, great art style, and just different than what's out there. Because there's no publisher out there other than us who will say, let's make a hard as hell platformer where people want to throw their controller and you can't beat the level under an hour.
Let's make a comedy game about electrical engineering. That's lying.
So we've been on Steam for the past few years. As I mentioned, we've announced that we've come to console with a few titles. Death's Gambit's coming to PS4. A couple other titles that we've had, Westerado and Rise and Shine, are coming to Xbox One. We could probably play the Rise and Shine one.
Oh yeah, right.
So here's another example of an Adult Swim game in another direction. So yeah, that's kind of an example of what we look for. We don't have a certain set thing, like, oh, let's find games in this or this style. It's all over, from beautiful hand-drawn stuff to Duck Game to Death's Gambit to Jazzpunk, and there's some other stuff that we haven't announced yet, which you will hear about soon. But if you guys follow the indie scene, you'll know which games, you'll have heard of these games, basically. So that's that.
Working with Double Fine?
Yeah, we've also announced at E3 that we're working with Double Fine on an original IP, which is awesome. So yeah, that's what we do. My job is basically, I'm always on the internet, basically. And we'll give out my email if you guys want to reach me after, because I don't think I can talk to everybody. But by all means, hit me up if you guys have game concepts, ideas. But yeah.
Who owns the IP?
It depends. We could work various deal structures. Generally, all these games, the developers own the IP. So we offer various deal structures, from pure publishing deals where we do a rev share in exchange for services. We could also possibly fully fund a game and possibly buy IP. It depends. We can meet somewhere in the middle. It really depends on what the game is and how much money we have left.
But you guys lean more towards 2D or like 3D with traverser?
If it's good, it's good.
It's good.
I mean,
Oh, it's so wasted.
oh, we show Wasted, which Wasted will be coming out very
So
soon.
this game isn't technically announced yet, other than it being on our Steam page, but we haven't done a push for it yet. But it's a game that I can't stop playing even in my free time, which is generally a pretty good time.
So Sean, you want to explain what Wasted is?
So I don't even know if I can. So basically, it's kind of, you took. I'll do the cheap marketing sort of thing of comparing it to other things. It's sort of Fallout meets Borderlands. The aesthetic of Borderlands in a way meets Binding of Isaac. You are kind of dropped in this post-apocalyptic sort of situation where you have to keep going into vaults and just destroy everything in there and grab as much loot as you can and get out. The only way you can get out is by finding special bottles of booze and then you drink it, you black out, and you end up back at your home base. Except every time you do that, you lose some stats. So instead of leveling forward, you kind of level backwards. And so the game kind of gets progressively harder as you get better and better equipment. It still gets a little bit harder. And they're adding a whole bunch of stuff. It's really funny. Some of the mechanics in it are really intense and good. But he's just adding in a bunch of stuff right now. But it's a game we haven't really even talked about yet, and I think it's going to be real special. I think it's streamers especially are going to really be into it because it's wicked hard.
So it's Fallout meets Redneck Rampage.
Yeah, basically, yeah. nice call. I didn't know anybody played that except for me. I pirated it. I'll be fair.
So can you talk a little bit about the process of working with Adult Swim from pitching to you all the way through launch and then support?
Okay, so when you pitch a game, you would reach out to me, and what I would normally do is we would have a chat. I'll kind of tell you what we can offer, which I basically did, from basically buying the game, funding the game, all the way to, okay, well you keep the IP, and we'll do some services exchange for rev share, such as marketing, PR, QA, first-party support with Valve or Apple or Sony or whoever the first party is. And obviously, we're Adult Swim, so we have commercials on Adult Swim television. So we could create a commercial for your game to be on Adult Swim television. We could also possibly help with funding as well, depending on the amount. We have advances where we would cover some funding and do that. So basically, if I like your game, we'll chat, and I ask developers to send me whatever you have, to arm me with info to show to my VP and my producers, because my VP is the ultimate say. I'm just kind of the gatekeeper. So send me demos, send me docs, send me whatever. I totally get it that obviously games are early, so I get it. A game will be pre-alpha or prototype or whatever. Just send what you have. Also, if you have obviously you may not have a GDD, but if it's like a 1 or 2 page write-up of describing what the features are, the game flow, estimated scope, and release time, that's cool. Just arm me with as much info as you can. I have weekly game pitch meetings with my VP and producers, and we'll go through it. And it's a tough process. I mean, we look at 10 to 15 games a week because I don't sleep. I'm always looking at games. So obviously we can't publish every game. I wish we could. So based off that, we'll go through the list and choose what fits Adult Swim. Obviously, as you can tell, we have everything. So the bottom line is, if it's good and we like it, we can find a way. It doesn't necessarily have to be funny, doesn't have to be, whatever. The one consideration I will say might disqualify some games is just genre, because, like I said, we have Bolgar, which is like Rostam and Super Ghouls and Ghosts. We'll probably not do a similar hard platformer for a while. But who knows? If a great game comes along, who are we to say no? Duck Game will probably be our multiplayer arena deathmatch type game, but who knows? Another one might come along. But for now, Duck Game is it. I don't want to just focus on Steam and console. We're also looking for mobile titles as well. So mobile, that's a whole other ball game. So mobile market is tough, obviously. The road on mobile success is littered with lots of corpses of people thought they'd make the next Angry Birds and all that. But that doesn't stop us from trying. So we have Robot Unicorn Attack, Amateur Surgeon, Giant Boulder of Death, Castle Doombad were all great for us. So if you have a mobile title, also we'd like to take a look at it. But yeah, so if I review with our VP and producer and they like it, we'll come back to you. We'll talk about how we can make something work with either of the various deal structures we provide. But there's always lots of factors. I always tell people don't be discouraged because, as I mentioned, we do look at a lot of games. There's a lot of things to compare to. Some factors including doubling up on genre or release window. Like Q1 next year for console and Steam is super packed. So unless you're cool with having your game slide back, it might be tough. But yeah, that's it.
Can you talk a little bit about the Adult Swim audience from size? I mean, obviously, one of the main reasons to go with you guys, you have a very large group of folks who look at what they think you guys do and at least consider. How How big is it? What do they like?
That's a two-sided question because we are Adult Swim Games, so we're not TV. The Adult Swim TV audience obviously is huge. Everybody's watched Adult Swim. They've been around for 13, 14 years now. Rick and Morty's a huge hit. Robot Chicken. That's a good one. So obviously the viewing audience there is huge. If you talk stereotypical gamer demographics, people 18 to 35, having commercials on Adult Swim is huge, especially for mobile, because everyone has their mobile device. So they'll see, oh, it's Robot Unicorn on the App Store. Hell, I'll go download it. And also when they see it on commercial, like, oh, a duck game. Oh, yeah, I saw that on Adult Swim. Here it is on Steam. Let's get it. So that audience is one thing. We're not going to be fooled. Obviously, if we only relied on those people to buy games, we wouldn't be here. Obviously, we're making games for gamers. Not every gamer watches Adult Swim. There is obviously a huge cross-section. So what we've done with Adult Swim is to tie back to the brand of Adult Swim. Like I mentioned, we look for games that let developers make the games they want. I'm going to date myself here, but I'm in my mid to late 30s, and I haven't watched Adult Swim in a few years until I came back to work here. I don't have time. I have to wake up and go to work. But I still hold the brand with much reverence. I loved Space Ghost, Sea Lab, Robot Chicken, etc. And that's the kind of thing that we're tying in with Adult Swim as a brand, because while you may not watch Children's Hospital or whatever, you may not be up to date with the current shows, you still know Adult Swim as a brand. And when you see Adult Swim games with awesome indie games, it's like, oh, I get it. That makes sense. Well, at least that's what we're hoping for. So yeah.
So do you have a typical game customer you think of when you're doing these, or is it pretty?
It's different. I mean, people who like jazz punk may not like Volgar.
I mean, jazz punk is such a specific, like, weird game. And Rain World, which we didn't actually show in the videos, that game's just straight up art. Like, it's just beautiful and artistic and not funny at all. And it actually falls well outside of our, what you would consider the typical, it'll pop up back on in a second, we hope. The typical sort of demographic that watches Adult Swim, it's completely outside of that in a lot of ways. And, for each game, we give it a lot of individual attention when it comes to marketing and PR about trying to find the right audience for it. Zenzi, which we're putting out real soon, Zenzi Zenzik, that game has a very specific, like, niche, bullet hell, twin stick shooter audience that, isn't going to play Rain World necessarily or these other games. So it's just about each game we're trying to find the specific audience. And sometimes that's an extension of our brand as far as the network goes, and a lot of times it's completely different. Traverser, I think, I don't even think, as far as, like, the network stuff, the average Adult Swim brand, that demographic. I've been in the industry same amount of time as Steve. I started off at Harmonix right before Guitar Hero, and then I worked on Guitar Hero and Rock Band and as a tech artist, and then I moved into marketing after that, and then I worked in indie games at a place called Firehose Games, where I was the producer, designer, marketing guy, and PR person all at the same time. I don't suggest it. But yeah, so I just moved down here from Boston, so I enjoy your many peach tree streets. There's so many.
3 right here.
I think we got a question right here.
Can we show Railroad?
Yeah. Let's toss that up there.
Can you say Boston again?
Work it. There we go.
So if someone does launches a game with you, and it's similar to one of the games you already have up there, do you push it to that existing audience?
Definitely. I mean, there's overlap, obviously. That's actually the one thing that really surprised me with Adult Swim is, if you actually look at our stats, the crossover is huge. Like, I want to say, last time I checked, it was like almost a third of the people that have Super House of Dead Ninjas also own Super Puzzle Platformer Deluxe. Like, there's definitely crossovers. Like 20% of certain people own another game, and that's pretty high. And these are genres you don't think would mesh or would work. But I think with Adult Swim, we've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in just making a lineup that, we're super proud of, and it's freaking awesome. And these are just the things you guys know about. There's stuff that we can't talk about yet that are gonna blow people's minds when 2016 is over. So yeah, that's right.
Was TakeSource devlog a big factor in you guys choosing Rainworld?
Yes. That's actually a good story. So Rain World is by two devs. James Primate is his stage name. He's a chiptune artist. And Joar, who's international. He's an international traveler. He's from Sweden, but then at the time he's in South Africa, and then he went to South Korea, and now he's been in Brooklyn. So I saw them on TakeSource, and for the life of me, there was no email for anybody. And I was like asking all my friends in the industry, like, who is this dude? Oh my God, you know. But eventually, Rain World had a Kickstarter, and I was like, finally, an email. And I blew up their inbox. I was like, what the hell, dude? And then every time I see Joe R, I always kind of give him shit for it. I was like, dude, put an email up. So tip number one, if you're going to put your game anywhere, for the love of God, put an email, because I hate to see it, there are other publishers out there. And they're looking for you. Trust me, they do what I do. They're looking on the internet, and be reachable somehow. Check your inbox. There are times I've met people, and like, dude, like, this is really embarrassing for me to say. I know people's games better than their names and faces, so I apologize if I forget your name or face. But there are times like, oh yeah, your game. I've emailed you 20 times. You've never wrote me back. So check your inbox, because there are publishers out there. There's a lot of opportunities, not just publishers. There's publishers, there's like funding sources for indies, there's accelerator programs, etc. But we're here to talk about Adult Swim. So. Any questions?
Can you give us a sense of what you consider a good sales range, both for Steam and for mobile?
It runs the gamut. I wish we could share numbers, but I mean, it really, I will say it's a hit-driven business. Some games make a lot more than others. So, I mean, some games, I would say maybe 1/5 of the lineup pays for the rest of it. I mean, it really depends. Some games resonate better than others. There's a lot of factors. Sometimes it's just platform. You know, maybe some games aren't right for Steam. And some people, you know, mobile consumers are different than Steam consumers, which are different than consoles. So, know your audience. I mean, I'm a marketing background, so definitely know your audience. And on the marketing note, keep your game pitches concise and have your bullet points. I'll get into that later, but yeah.
Just without any real numbers, what would you say the success of your mobile has been versus your success of your Steam?
It's the same thing. I mean, the Robot Unicorn Attacks, Giant Boulders of Death, Amateur Surgeons are by far magnitudes higher than the other ones. Same on Steam. I mean, is one market better than the other? If you're deciding, should I go mobile, should I go console? It really comes down to what do you love to do? Because, as I said, you know, one thing I love about Adult Swim is I work with developers who make the games they love to make. If you're trying to shoehorn yourself into, I'm going to be a mobile guy, I'm going to do free-to-play, if your heart's not into it, it's going to show, and it's going to fail. Sad to say. Steam, the games are made with love, you could tell. And, yeah, I mean, if you're not behind the game, if you're trying to create a game for a platform, for a market, that's not the right way to go.
I meant more like just percentages. Like, have you had the same percentage success on mobile that you've had on Steam?
We've made more money on mobile so far, historically.
But it's a little bit different too, because we're not selling units really on mobile. It's not so much a sales driven. Like, trying to put out a premium game on mobile now is just generally a terrible idea. Whereas going with a free to play, our general thing is more less freemium and more ad driven.
Yep.
In a lot of ways. So it's actually closer to television in a lot of ways. You're selling the content to ad sales and stuff, and then some of your games are supporting some of your bigger games in a larger ecology and pushing people to sort of centerpieces. So, yeah, it's kind of like a whole different. It's actually hard to even quantify what ends up being a success and a failure sometimes.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
And we haven't even gone to console yet, technically. So that'll be a whole other pillar things to look at. So.
Can you highlight if any of these are Georgia game developers, or can you say approximate number of games in Georgia you're working with right now?
None.
Give us good incentives.
So
That's why you guys are here. Exactly.
How much support do you like to have from a developer after the game is launched, both for additional content and for marketing and PR availability?
Obviously, be available to, if you're doing a Steam game, for example, be available to check forums because people want to hear from developers, and you guys can answer technical stuff better than any of us can. If it's
That's worth a lot more than actually even like doing press, like doing
Yeah.
an interview. Like being on the forums is will drive more units than actual having an interview on Polygon. Without a doubt.
I mean, in this day and age, I mean, with the internet, obviously there's no secrets in gaming. There's no secrets in development. I think that's why a lot of certain games do really well, like Duck Game, for example. That's one guy. That's Landon Podbielski from Saskatchewan.
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Not the same. Not the same.
Grew up on a farm.
Yes. But he's
Proof.
one guy, one kid. And I say kid because he literally turned, what's 22 now?
He's like 22. I think he might have just turned 23.
Jeez.
He's like all of our.
I met him
boys.
when he couldn't drink, basically.
He still can't, if you want my opinion.
But he's one guy, and he figured out how to get online multiplayer in there. He's adding more stuff.
He composed all the music himself, and the music is great. Like, it's not like crap. It's incredible.
Yeah. So I would adopt him if I could. But he's one guy, but he's super active. And the thing is, people know Landon, and they know, oh, we get it. You're one guy. We don't expect you to be some robot, but just be active, be yourself. I mean, this kind of ties into what I was going to mention also somewhere in our talk about Twitch and social media is, one thing that we're going to do more of is allow developers to stream their development of their game on our Adult Swim channel.
I just wanted to highlight that. The helpful for the user reviews. And this is a lot because of what Landon did. We have over 1,000 positive reviews.
That's a positive review, right?
34 negative reviews. And that's, I mean,
I like how helpful that's been.
Yeah. Very helpful. 70%.
Question.
Yeah, how many people, or as far as developers, do you get from underage, as far as people in high schools and such?
Looking at here, Death's Gambit is by two guys who just graduated USC recently. Obladus, he was in college in the University of Michigan while he was making Obladus. Rise and Shine are recent grads. They're over in Spain. Westerado, I think two guys were in college at the time. They're all over random parts of Europe. So yeah, they're definitely young. I mean, it kind of blows my mind. I talk to developers like, oh yeah, can we chat later? I have a final that day, and I assume college. And I've actually had some say high school, and that made me feel really, really old. But I mean, the talent is there. Like I have nephews who love gaming, and I tell them it's like honestly, with all these tools so accessible, so affordable, many of them free, there's really no reason to dabble in gaming. There's no reason not to. And I think the industry's better for it because we're seeing people with a fresh set of eyes. I mean, look at the resurgence in old school genres. I mean, people are discovering 2D, which is amazing. But the industry is very healthy in that sense with young talent coming in, and it's a good thing to see.
Well, let's talk about ancillary rights. Do you ever support developers releasing soundtracks, art books, etc., with your own advertising?
They could do it.
But you support that on
Yeah.
the Steam channel?
We don't. On the Steam channel, we obviously have to take a cut because we're a publisher. But if you want to go on, what's that thing that Josh runs? SoundCloud? Yeah. Bandcamp. Yeah. If you want to release your soundtrack there, you can. I know that we also let people do other things, like for Rain World. This is also has not been announced. There will be Rain World plushies made by Sanshi. And the cool thing with being Adult Swim is, we're technically Turner Broadcasting. We're a giant, multi-billion-dollar company. What's a few plushie sales to us? Nothing. So we let these developers go ahead, sell some plushies from your game. You can keep all the profit. We'll tweet about it. We'll give you some social media love, but
we got that Game of Thrones money.
Exactly. But yeah, so if developers want to sell their other stuff like soundtracks or T-shirts, whatnot, through Fangamer, which we might have some of those as well, by all means, for us, it's a drop in the bucket, and it's like, yeah, definitely, I want you to wear the brand of your game. We want people to do that. So, questions?
Do you offer any technical assistance? Do you have coders that help out on problems? QA,
We have QA in-house. We have a few people in QA in-house. We can also provide third-party QA support if needed. So if need be, we could hire outside companies to do more QA. We do have Zoe, our one engineer, who also he's solved a lot of problems on Steam.
Yeah.
For a lot of developers, where Zoe would just take a look at something and be like, oh yeah, just do this.
Right now I have him working on making a Twitch Plays Westerado, which is stupid. Like, it's like the stupidest thing I could have him do, but it's awesome.
Yes.
Like, because it's not a turn-based game.
Mhm.
So it's live action.
Do you want to talk lunchtime?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. As far as...
Well, just creative ways of being Adult Swim we could do. So Adult
Oh, yeah.
So Adult Swim, the cool thing with Adult Swim is we are Adult Swim, so we could do things that non-traditional publishers do. So we have a game by the creators of Super House of Dead Ninjas called Lunchtime RPG. So we had this game made a long time ago, at least a year and a half ago. I want to say 99% done, and we didn't release it yet because we didn't really know how. Because, well, A, we own this game, so no developer is going hungry because we're not releasing the game. But we're like, how do we release it? Steam is very tough these days. If you put a game out there with no publicity and no branding and no awareness, it's going to fall like a rock. Mm-hmm. So the game's called Lunchtime RPG. What the premise is, you have a full hour to beat this RPG, and you're supposed to play it on your lunchtime. And the clock is constantly running, and there's a lot of fourth wall breaking stuff. So the gimmick is you're really playing this at your computer during lunchtime. So there's a lot of jokes in there, fourth wall breaking stuff. So the idea we had was to have our new employee, Sean, basically play it during his lunch break while eating lunch. So basically, once a week on AdultSwim.com, we show Sean eating lunch while playing Lunchtime RPG.
And it's like, it's as much food as I can possibly eat. It's, go to adultswim.com and see if I can pull it up.
Do you come in and yell at him to get back to work while he's playing?
He's already suffering enough.
Yeah, oh, I really am too. Because we did, one of the episodes we did was, is this the right part? I don't remember where it is. I can't remember. It's alright, you know what? It's alright, you don't need to watch me eat. So we decided that one of the ways that we could do is just basically make the stupidest show of all time. This was actually Steve's idea. Not because Steve's stupid, but because
Fish Center beats us that, though.
Yeah.
Fish Center's stupider, so.
Yeah. So basically what it is I just play the game on my lunch break and eat as much food as possible, but we try to make it, I talk more about the food than the game, and I talk about how we're never going to release this game, that it's just for my lunch break. I've already paid for it. And I keep referring to it as my heel turn, so it's my sort of like wrestling term, it's like I'm the bad guy who won't put out this game. And we still might not, we'll see what happens, but we're like, developers calling in and yelling at me.
Oh, you can also call into the show, too.
Yeah, anybody can call into the show at any time while I'm eating, and I actually have to answer the thing, and do the chat, and eat, and play the game at the same time. And we did the most recent episode, I did one episode that was just bowls of cereal, one after another, a couple of different times. It was the worst thing I've ever done myself. And then, up until last week, which was supermarket sushi. Oh. And I ate probably $40 worth of supermarket sushi. And then I went home immediately. It was terrible, but it's just about trying to find unique ways that, you're not going to see Activision doing that. You're not going to see anybody who has any respect for themselves doing that. And that's what we can offer, because we have an audience that's like, oh, what dumb thing is happening right now? And it's kind of great, because we can get away with that sort of thing in ways other people can't. So we can definitely go outside the box.
Let's talk about ESRB ratings and other issues. Adult material.
We haven't had to deal with it yet. On Steam, you don't need one,
right?
So we haven't had to do that. On console, we will. But I've had experience with that in my former life at EA. Maybe because it was EA and a large company, it wasn't that much of an issue for me. A lot of it was like, okay, send us what you think is the most offensive thing in your game, and have them rate it. And then you pay them a fee.
Well, what is forbidden? What is forbidden for Adult Swim, if anything?
Oh, so there is standards and practices in Adult Swim, so you can't just do anything on Adult Swim. Religion is touchy. Nudity is touchy. This is another story. When we did a flash game, pitched to us where it was kind of like a Castlevania type game, and there were statues, and there were some nude men and women, and standards and practices did not want us to have nipples on the women. So we actually took the nipples off, and it was okay.
But the men.
The men were kind of, But so there's no nipples, which is wrong. But the one that is very touchy is definitely drug and alcohol. So you can't just have people like walking by smoking a cigarette in one of our games. It's a Turner Broadcasting kind of gray area that we don't want to go. Because we've already pushed the envelope as is. So when you want to do drug or alcohol things, they want there to be obvious negative consequences for doing it. So wasted, yeah, you're drinking, but your stats are going down. It affects your stats or it affects how you play. So wasted was okay in that sense. So
What's the negative in hemp cycle?
he's hemp. He's a industrial hemp. He's not.
That's just for shirts.
Yeah. They make good bags.
You can start it as long as it's used.
Yeah. But we did do Bible fight at one time.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, we just put out Black Jesus on network, which was amazing.
Which was awesome, by the way.
That's my favorite show.
Any questions?
For first-time developers, what's the biggest tripwire? What's the things they mess up on the most?
Killing your babies. Yeah, like literally, having this design that you really want to do perfectly and not wanting to cut certain parts out of it that don't actually make sense to anybody but you. Falling too in love with your game, ultimately. Because it's great to have passion for your game, it's great to have love for your game, but you also got to put it out. And eventually, I mean, we're not actually that pushy about anything like that.
We are the most chill publisher when it comes to that because we want the game to be done when it's done.
Yeah.
We're not on a storefront anywhere. We're not trying to get there by Christmas time. The game's done when it's done, but we don't want lagging 3 years. It's still we still have bills.
Yeah, so sometimes you have to be willing to just take other people's word for it and take other people's sort of feedback about the game. And I know a lot of I've worked with tons and tons of young developers, and that's almost uniformly a problem every time. Everybody has that. Everybody goes through that first time. First, second, third time, generally.
A good example, too, is a game, I won't mention which one, but there was a game that came out, and with press, we obviously send builds out before the game comes out. And the developer was a little upset or annoyed that people were seeing the game be spoiled on Twitch and YouTube. Which, that's another thing, comes to the point of it's your baby. We get it, it's your baby, you've put a lot of passion and heart into it, but once it's out in the world, people will play your game and think about your game the way they want. Even though you want to make it a RPG, action, whatever, roguelike, they might say, oh, this game's great for whatever. People speedrun Jazz Pump. I don't think he meant it to be a speedrun game, but it took a lot. I had to come to Jesus talk with this developer. Like, dude, this is a good thing. When you should be worried when YouTube and Twitch does not want to cover your game. So enjoy that. Enjoy people showing interest in your game. Enjoy meeting people at indie events like PAX or Indiecade or whatnot. And, just take a step back every now and then because we get it. You put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and your soul in these games. But, have a good perspective.
We got the final question.
Is there any more pizza?
That'll be Sean's lunchtime RPG session.
Yeah, Pizza Wizard.
Can we see Jazz Punk?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, listen. You listen to me.
Oh, you want to do the live
I
action trailer?
want
Let's do the live action
service.
trailer.
I want the club sandwich. I want the cold Mexican beer. I want the 10,000 credit and night robots. What? Oh man, wrong number. I'm so sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Activating Public loading. Your storage capacity is now 240 kilobytes. Warning, do not exceed capacity.
Whoa.
You won't believe how it ends.
We'll be alright.
That's all right.
So who paid for that trade?
We did. We did.
No, it's all right. I paused it because I was trying to get back in here. You deserve full screen.
Waltman.
You have a new email.
First.
Now we can read all that. It is strong.
Let that image sit for a little bit.
So did they really spend all that time making a trailer? And finding a vision.
All right. We gave you a chance.
I don't
All
get
right.
it.
That's it. So, if you guys want to email me, it's you have my name on it, but my email is steve.gee@turner.com.
Say it one more time.
steve.gee@turner.com. Just hit me up there for any concept stuff or whatever.
And yeah, like you were saying, concise, like comprehensive but concise.
I didn't
think
get to
that's-
that point. We were gonna do this thing, bad cop, worst cop. But for the love of God, keep your emails short because, as I said, we do look at a lot of games. I look at 10 to 15 different games a week, and just get it down to what is your game? What's the elevator pitch? Keep it concise.
30-second trailers and Anna-GIFs. Like,
GIFs.
Seriously, like,
GIFs.
Anna-GIFs are the
Oh
greatest
my
thing.
God.
So we can see your game in motion. We can see what it looks like.
I
The trailer
never-
gives a little thing, but like if you send a 3-minute trailer, we won't watch it. I mean, we might watch 30 seconds of it. But we're going to see the worst 30 seconds because you always put that part at the beginning. So just trust me. Just trust us on this.
I will say that, yeah, when it comes to looking at Kickstarters, I don't watch the trailer because I don't have time. So I will definitely scroll down to check out the art and screenshots and GIFs. So make good GIFs. GIFs sell games. Look at Rainworld. Rainworld has amazing GIFs. Follow them on Twitter. You should. Same as Death's Gambit. They have amazing GIFs. Yeah. That's it.
So you want emails with little text but a lot of art?
Whatever works. Whatever sells your game. Every game is different.
What is your what is your game? Is like the way to it? Does it have a nice aesthetic? Does it have good motion? Does it have good animation? That sort of thing. Definitely let the art sell it. Let the motion sell it. Let the sort of atmosphere sell it. I think that's generally a really good way to go. If you have a game, I mean, some of our games, if somebody just showed us Zenzi without any words in it, we would have no idea what was going on, and it would be a terrible. I mean, like a few GIFs in there, but like a little bit of explanation, a little bit of heat in there. But yeah, just give us the context, because that's really the way to do it. Certainly.
Thank you very much, Adult Swim.
I actually have a newborn who's 5 months. She's very cute. I would show pictures. But, yeah,
So pitch to Sean.
Oh no. So yeah, I have to bounce soon.
But follow up with them if you can't corral them here. A couple quick things. Some of you came in late, especially those of you from universities. Metro Atlanta Chamber is looking to talk to you about South by Southwest presence. Also, we've signed up one of our keynotes for Siege. That's Warren Spector, the developer.
We're publishing his next game.
Yeah. All right, so thank you guys so much for coming. You're all fantastic and wonderful. And for those of you who were late, we're going to have a small, quick little AWG, Advancement Women in Gaming meeting right here in like 5 minutes.
And next month at Trick 3D.
Trick 3D, we're going to talk about mocap. Come on, guys, mocap.
Oh, and one more thing.
Next week at David Buster's.
One more thing too. One thing we're doing on Twitter at Adult Swim Games.
Oh yes.
Every Friday we're doing this thing where we'll ask, hey, developers, you have a cool indie game you want us to shout out? Tweet at us, and we can retweet you back to get you some.
We do
little
focus
bit of
Fridays.
Screenshot Saturdays.
as well.
What was that at Adult Swim?
Adult Swim Games.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
That's another pet peeve. We are Adult Swim Games. I see people tweeting at Adult Swim talking about Duck Game. They don't care about it.
To be fair, that is on us. We should have changed our name.
We should have.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
if that's everything, thank you guys so much.